Welcome to the Power of Hospitality podcast, where we discover the world of refined luxury and impeccable service. I'm your host, Humphrey-Bishop, and in each episode, I interview some of the most inspirational and influential professionals in the hospitality industry. Today, I'm delighted to welcome to the show Lydia Kenny, wedding manager at the award-winning 17th century iconic luxury hotel, Cliveden House. Crafting some of the most exclusive and glamorous luxury weddings in the wedding industry and delivering exclusive hotel hire-out events. Lydia is also featured as a lead role on the Channel 4 and Amazon Prime TV show, Cliveden, a Very British Hotel. A luxury hotel that's featured multiple times in Condé Nast, Forbes Travel, Tatler and Vogue. So starting her journey into the world of luxury hospitality as an event manager for a production company, she then moved to Cliveden House as a reservations consultant at the Elegant Estate and worked her way up through the events department, taking on the lead role as an event manager for the hotel. So Lydia, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on today's show. It's a pleasure to have you. So why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and how did you get started in the industry?
I've been in the industry my entire adult life. I was actually a bridesmaid. I work at Cliveden House and I was the bridesmaid at Cliveden when I was 7 years old for my Uncle Brian. And I just decided that my job was going to be wedding planner at Cliveden.
Wow.
Many years ago. So I didn't really do much before I started working at Cliveden. I worked for a small events agency called Pandemonium Productions when I was a baby. I just worked in a shed with a lovely man called Simon. And we were very lucky. We got to run some amazing events together. And he'd been in the industry for years and years and years, sort of musical theatre. And he did lots of car launches. And we were part of the Jubilee and the Olympics. So I worked for him for a very short space of time, just helping him out. And then a job role came up at Cliveden and I applied because it was the dream. It was a reservations role. And I remember going for the interview. I had it in the tote room and I basically got told to shut up and they'll give me the job. And that was it, all those years ago. And now I'm still there, still running it. And I'm now the weddings and exclusive use manager.
Wow. Gosh, that's absolutely incredible. Well, firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
And so do you think, because obviously you started with that kind of media side and working for a production company. I mean, often hospitality is linked a little bit to theatre and that theatrical side of hospitality. We're always associating it with, crêpe Suzette, flambé of crêpe Suzette and that theatrical side. So do you think that kind of media and production company played a little bit of a part in helping you kind of get into the hospitality industry?
I think so. I think it's probably more that I always say it's like you're on stage.
Okay.
So when you work in hospitality, I mean, you know what it's like when you're with your guests and your clients and being a wedding planner with your couples, you have to have that sort of on-stage presence. Not acting, because it's a genuine thing. I think with hospitality, to be good at it, it has to be a genuine passion. But I think there is definitely an element of feeling like you're in a theatre production because everybody has their roles. You've got your head of concierge, your hotel manager, your GM, even down to sort of the KP whose role it is to make sure everything gets up to that stage as such. I think there's definitely an element of that. But I think it's sort of built into your character to make you work in hospitality.
Yeah, definitely. And how was that transition of, kind of stepping up? So you started as a reservations assistant and then kind of stepped up and now you're like in charge of the kind of events team. I mean, how is that? How was that step up?
It was interesting, actually. So when I was in reservations, I think it taught me a lot. And I think that's why I'm probably, it's not really arrogant, but good at my job now, because you have this ability to understand that sort of underlying passage. So you understand bedroom reservations and that sort of, not lower level, that's not the right term, but that sort of, that step into the hotel. That sort of, your first step is booking a bedroom in the hotel and then you book that bedroom, you fall in love with the restaurant, you fall in love with the view, you fall in love with the team and then suddenly you're engaged 5 years later and you're like, oh, do you remember that stay we had at Cliveden? Yeah. That was amazing. So I think having that kind of baseline understanding of the operational side of things for getting the bedrooms all turned around, how to sell the bedrooms and which ones works nicer. I think it's just a really lovely starting point. So I had this incredible foundation built. And then because I left, did a bit of random work, and then I came back after 7 seconds because I hated it. When I came back, I had this amazing foundation. I had the teamwork element because nobody leaves Cliveden really. The sort of core people have been there for so long. And so then you can kind of build this new career path from having this great, amazing base to it.
Wow. Amazing. And of course, working in the events department, you must have seen so many incredible events. I mean, tell us a little bit about, those events that you've held and what was probably the most interesting one as well.
There are so many events. We're so lucky at Cliveden because that hotel has got so many little spaces. So you can have, some of the most beautiful events I've done have been the most intimate events. So there's this room called the Boudoir, which is just this lovely space, looks out over the Parterre Gardens. It was Lady Astor's dressing room or sort of study area. I do make up the history of Cliveden House just to put that out there. I really do. I really shouldn't, but I do. So, give me some space with it. But you've got these lovely little rooms that are smaller, so you can do these intimate affairs. So we did a wedding once years ago, and the couple come back every year.
That's amazing.
She was very, very poorly, the bride, when she was getting married. They'd been together for years and years and years, and she wasn't very well. And they decided to get married because I don't think they thought she had very long to go. It's been 7 years now. And she's still alive and having the best time. And they come back every year and have a cup of tea with them. And I love them. So you have tiny events like that, but then you also have these unreal extravaganzas. They're hard to explain. It's something that you see once in a lifetime. You sort of walk in and there's literally £1 million worth of flowers. And there's jewels that I will never ever get to see in my life. Just sort of there for people to just wear because that's their normal lives. And you get to have this kind of inside look as, that how the other half live. I get to pretend that I'm one of them. Just for a little bit of time. So you really do get to see some amazing things. And I think you get some very well-known artists that come and perform for couples. Fantastic. And you get beautiful photographers who are, just phenomenal. It's amazing. We're very lucky.
Because you also played a part in is it Channel 4's
a very British country house hotel.
Yes. I mean, how was that experience?
I loved it. I loved it. It was amazing. It was intense because you were filmed pretty much every day for 6 months.
Okay.
So I'd sort of walk in and there'd be a film crew and they'd be like, right, mic up. I haven't gone to the loo yet. Give me a chance. So you sort of, I think they did it so that you kind of forgot you were on a mic. So then you said all sorts of naughty things you shouldn't have said. And they got all the gossip. But yeah, it was fun actually. I really liked it. They were very kind to me. They made me look like a nice, decent human being. And they filmed some amazing weddings, really beautiful weddings.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I thought it was a great experience. Good exposure for the hotel and the weddings, just phenomenal. So yeah, really good.
Were there any moments that kind of happened unplanned or
Yeah.
Anything that didn't go to plan and you think, oh my gosh, or any funny moments?
Well, I sort of set a tree on fire. It wasn't the plan. We had fireworks. We now no longer do fireworks at Cliveden House.
I see.
And they didn't film this part because our GM literally stood in front of it like, don't show this. It wasn't like a big fire. Nothing was burning. But we had fireworks that went off and there was, because it was sort of, it was autumn time, so I think everything was quite dry. And there was a little, I don't know, pile of leaves that caught flame. The groom loved it. He was like, we're literally setting the place on fire. And I was like, that's not a good thing. But that wasn't exactly planned. There were a few moments like that, not fires, but there were just a few little, like I had to buy saris for all the team to wear, which was really fun. I had a little Fiat 500 and it was just me. It was like a clown car, me and a film guy in the front and then 3 in the back with good cameras. And I was like driving along through, I think went to Chippenham, went to this like amazing market like shop. And I walked in and the guy had zero interest in talking to me. And then I was buying many saris and he was like, oh, okay. He was so nice. I saw all the photos of his family's weddings and what the girls wore and what his sons wore, and he invited me over for a cup of tea. I didn't go. But yeah, so we had all these like mad moments that were not planned in any way, shape or form. But yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah. And do you think playing a part in that kind of helped with your hospitality career in a way?
I think so. I still get like, there was a scene where there's a huge safe at Cliveden and I genuinely couldn't open the thing. I wasn't putting it on. I could not get that safe open. And I was running around like, oh my God. And I still know I'll go down, I live near Marlow and I sort of walk down the high street and people shout at me, ask if I've opened the safe yet, which is always quite funny. And you kind of go to hotels. Our industry is very small. The sort of top level 5-star properties, it's all very small and everybody's worked kind of everywhere and knows everybody. So it's quite nice when I go to places like that because I do get recognised and I get the odd glass of champagne. So that
always
must
a
help
good thing.
hospitality. Yeah,
Always a good thing.
Career hasn't changed because I'm still at Cliveden. I still do what I did then. But
amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh. And so what actually, is the kind of behind the scenes of creating a 5-star event? So if you're then kind of given this task, how would you kind of think, okay, this is how I'm going to kind of approach the event and all the planning behind it?
So recently we've done this thing at work called Insights. I don't know if you've ever done it, where you look at your colours. So there's like a colour wheel where you're yellow, red, green or blue. Red is very sort of strong. Blue is very organised, which I think you're very blue. Okay. Green is very kind of empathetic and caring. I think you've got a green-blue tinge. And yellow is kind of chaos and creative, and I'm yellow. I have no blue in me. So everyone always says, how do you plan it? But I sort of go with my gut. And everyone hates when I say that at work because it's like the worst thing when you're trying to, budget something. And I'm like, just go with your gut and see what you think they'll love. But I kind of get to know my couples or my hosts of events. And I've just got this little drawer of what I think they're going to like. Okay. So if they're American, like typically they love the sort of truly British things. If they've sort of come over from Italy, they want beautiful food, beautiful wines. So you kind of have that as a little idea. Yeah. And then as I get to know them, I kind of build it all on and I work with the most phenomenal team.
Really?
Like when you look at Marlu, she's our assistant F&B manager, and you work with Marlu.
Yes, of course, yes. Oh, it was honestly
she's
amazing.
Phenomenal. And you sort of go to her and you're like, right, I want to do this. And her and Dwight will look at me like, ugh. But they make it happen. Yeah. You go to Chris, our executive head chef, and I've designed, like in August we're doing this event, and I was talking to the florist and we've designed a sort of fake Italian marketplace as their space to eat. Okay. Which I thought was fun. So then I was like, oh, I wonder if we could do it like they go to a market store to pick up their food. So they go and they choose their cut of beef or their piece of fish and they choose the herbs and spice they want to pop in it. Okay. So they literally pick the basil out of the baskets. And so I was like, that's a great idea. We'll do that. And then I went to chef and I was like, I've done this. But the team is so united and we're so kind of close to each other that we can go, all right, we'll figure that out. And they tend to just go, let's fine. And it works. So I think that's the whole thing of it is I come up with some crazy brained idea, but I've got this amazing team that will just go, yeah, we'll figure that out. And they do. They've never, ever failed. So, we're very lucky in that sense.
Amazing. And of course, you would have then worked with all different of these luxury brands, champagne brands and fashion brands and all different things. I mean, what are some of the amazing brands that you've worked with?
Oh, we're so lucky. We work, I mean, obviously Lauren Perrier is our house champagne. I mean, that's just amazing. So we've done some beautiful events with them. We've done some lovely like wine dinners with all sorts of different wineries from around the world that fly in and we do these beautiful dinners. Obviously, we do our literary festival every year, which is, I love the literary fest. So the literary festival is sort of this amazing 3-day event where you have these phenomenal speakers that come in and it's lovely. It's one of those events that every year it follows the same pattern but something so different and it's Chanel is a huge part of that and I love working with the Chanel girls. I just stare at them all and want to look like them. They're just amazing. They're so immaculately dressed and beautiful and the room always looks stunning. Yeah. And then I'm lucky, like I work with florists that are really like well known. You've got, Larry Welsh, Amy Bone, Rob Van Helden. Wow. Like some amazing names. amazing planners. I got to work with Marcy Bloom last year, who has been my, like, I'm like such a fangirl. She walked in the room and I was like, don't be weird, be normal. Because she's just amazing. Yeah, we work with some incredible people and suppliers. Yeah, very, very lucky.
And has the industry changed much over the last few years in the wedding department?
Do you know, I think it did. There was after, especially that dreaded COVID, after COVID, everything changed. Everyone had been locked in their little houses for so long, not Cliveden clients, in their big houses for so long. And then they suddenly got to kind of come out and experience the world again. And for a couple of years, it was so, everyone just wanted to celebrate. So you were so busy and it was so amazing. And then I think in the last like 18 months, people have gone, okay, we might need to just mellow a little bit because the current climate is not the most stable. So I think the events we're getting now and the weddings we're getting now are much more, I don't know, sort of, they're a little more intimate and they're a little more not having, because a lot of weddings ended up being a wedding, a christening, someone's birthday all in one because they've missed them all. So now it's going back to that kind of the romance of it, which I love because I'm a secret romantic. Actually, I can't be a secret romantic being a wedding planner, can I? But yeah, they've changed again. But this year, it's sort of going full circle. We're going back to seeing these incredible like masterpieces coming together. Yeah. So yeah, it's fascinating watching it.
Yeah, definitely. And would you say there are any challenges in the industry? Is there anything that
you're in this industry, right?
I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. So what's kind of the biggest challenge in, when you're planning an event? Is it, the kind of different opinions on what should happen on the day, or is it the deliveries not turning up on time, or,
There's always things like that. I think, to me, the biggest challenges are probably when you've got, what's the phrase, too many cooks.
Okay.
So you have a bride and a groom who have an idea of what they want their day to be like. And then you have a bride and a groom parents. And they have their own ideas. And then you add a wedding planner that they add in on top. And you're like, oh, God, okay. And then there's me. And I'm like, I'll just do what you tell me. You tell me, I'll make it happen. But yeah, you can sometimes, there's a few cases where you have to sort of, deal with the politics of the day.
I see.
I kind of like that. That's the thing I find really fascinating. It's really fun sort of watching the interactions between different family members and different like guests. We once, years and years ago, like long time ago, we had a wedding and there was an aunt who no one spoke to, but she really wanted to go to this wedding. So she was going to turn up whether they liked it or not. So we had to put photos up at the front of the house to be like, if this lady turns up, please go and get the groom. And then we'll ask her not to be there. So yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, whose job, do you get every day something completely mental happens? I love it. It's great.
Gosh. Yeah. So who does get the final say? I mean, is it the bride, the groom?
I'd say that, it depends. It really depends on the couple.
The mother-in-law?
Yeah. Mum of bride tends to get quite a big say, which I get. But I think it ends up being the bride in the end. Yeah. They tend to get the biggest kind of input eventually. We just have to go through the houses a few times.
So how would you kind of ensure that they do get the best experience on their wedding day?
I think it's like having everything in place.
Okay.
So I like to make sure that they know what to expect. I do this, we call it a function sheet, incredibly boring name for it, but I call it our little Bible. So it has everything that they're going to do on that day. Okay. And I send it to them and I say, this is what we're doing. Yeah. And just check everything is on there that you're expecting and that you want to happen.
Such a great idea.
It then kind of gives them an eye-opener into like how we're going to run their day. Mm-hmm. Because my team, like Toby, Dennis, Dylan, like they will run it. If it's on that sheet, they will do it. Yeah. They will not miss a thing. So if I make sure it's on there, that's great. And that's kind of the fundamentals. But I think to make sure their day is what they want, it's about like the people being there, the team being aware that it's such a special day for them and this is their day. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 200 people, it's their wedding day. Yeah. And having either myself or Emily, Talia, my 2 girls that work with me, like at their wedding with them, that's all that matters. Like making sure you're by their side as they're about to walk down the aisle. Because a bride, there's always a moment where a bride has a little, not a wobbly, but like a little moment. There's always that little like, I'm terrified. I've once genuinely had to push a bride down the aisle. Oh, gosh. I loved her so much. She was such a nice lady. And she looked so beautiful. And she was just sit there and she was desperate to marry her husband, but she was so terrified of the people. And I was like, okay, we got to do this.
Oh,
She's
no.
like, I can't. And she just stood there. She would not move. And I was like, I'm going to shove you now. I just pushed her and she did go. But you get to those stages where you become so close to them that you can actually physically move them.
Gosh, wow. No, that really just, shows just how kind of magical Cliveden House is for weddings. I mean, what would you say is the most magical part about it?
I think the house, when you drive up that driveway, incredible. I've done it for 15 years every day of my life, pretty much. Even on my days off, I go, how pathetic is that? But I do. I love it. So that driveway in is amazing. The view of the garden is incredible. Down by the river at sunset, beautiful. There's all these like aesthetic moments that are purely magical. But to me, I think it's that we're a 5-star luxury property. It's a phenomenal enterprise. It's an amazing space to be. But you walk in and you meet Caroline or George or Ian on the door or Flip-Flop, Phil, I call him Flip-Flop. You meet these people at the door and they are just the most sort of welcoming, kind, warm people. You go into the restaurant and Sam and Liam, they're serving you and you don't feel like you're being, that sort of stuffy, sort of judgmental, horrible thing. You can be like John Smith, who's been for a walk in the National Trust Gardens and wants to come in for an afternoon tea and we've got space, so amazing, come on in. Or it can be your 80th birthday and you've wanted to go there your entire life. Wow. We have these amazing, not everybody's like a billionaire that goes there. We're very lucky we have quite a few that come. Thank you, please keep coming. But like you have this amazing kind of like change in circumstance of people who come and why they come there. And I think that's what makes it so magical, because everyone's there for a really, truly special reason. And I think it's really nice that you have that.
It's amazing. And as the event manager, how do you play a part in kind of maintaining that reputation? Because I think, I know because I used to work there, but Cliveden has, such an incredible reputation for, the elegant hotel and the beautiful style and beautiful service. So how would you play that part in maintaining its reputation?
I think it's about kind of going up there, like I say up there, my office is downstairs in like the sort of cellar of the house, and going up onto the floor, sort of where the restaurant and all the guests are. So to me, it's about maintaining the relationships that I've got with clients, old and new. It's about sort of making sure that if we've got this lovely regular couple that come in all the time, they're so sweet and we love them and we know that they like to have a certain champagne and they like certain foods and everything else, and they love members of our team, and it's about kind of keeping them in in your heart sort of thing. Like you go up and you talk to them, you remember what they were there last time for, and you remember to send a celebration on someone's anniversary, you remember to do that. But also it's about, I'm very lucky I get to do things like this, or go for a lovely industry lunch. I attend quite a lot of them, and it's about sort of not showing it off, but just speaking about it with genuine love, because I adore that place. I know it's really sad, but it's like my home from home. So I think it's just maintaining that sort of welcoming back and making it feel like a home, not a sort of stuffy hotel.
So, Cliveden House has won so many awards. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Condé Nast, the AA awards, the Boutique Hotel awards, just so many different awards. How does the team come together to, bring that teamwork in to kind of strive for those awards?
I think
it's a huge achievement.
Oh, massive. Yeah. Our spa Holly, our spa manager, she just keeps winning awards. Honestly, it's annoying. We're going to have to build her another shelf. It's incredible. She's built so many awards recently. Like one of her therapists, Tanya, won Spa Therapist of the Year for Oscar. She's just, there's all these amazing, our industry is very good like that though as well. They have all these incredible award sort of ceremonies and levels to go to. So you don't just have to be the best hotel. You can be all sorts of other things. But I think it is that teamwork piece. It's that kind of ability to recognise when, the Astor Girl's in trouble because it's a beautiful summer's day and it's really sunny.
Yeah.
And they weren't expecting that because it's been cold. So we've got 3 members of staff and we could do 10. So it's about the restaurant team jumping over there and helping them and vice versa. It's really sort of, picking up on where the issues are and then working together. And yes, I might be an events manager. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't serve food because I will absolutely drop it. I wouldn't be allowed. But I can host, I can do check-ins, I can show guests their bedrooms. Yeah. So it's just about kind of going, the kitchen was in dire straits the other day and just because we'd had 2 people calling us sick. And Dwight, who is our food and beverage manager, he's been there for his entire life. He's incredible. You worked with Dwight, amazing. I walked into the kitchen, he had an apron on, he had his little hairnet in, and he was making the mashed potato. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I was like, well, we all got to muck in. So you just jump in. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, wow. And, it's honestly so inspiring to kind of hear these stories. Is there anybody that inspires you in the industry? So somebody that you kind of think, gosh, you know what, they really inspire me, or somebody perhaps, over your whole life or your whole career that's really kind of stood out and inspired you, perhaps when you were younger?
In the industry, I've always adored Sue Williams.
Yeah.
I adore Sue Williams. I know she's left Watley and she's sort of pursuing, because she's so sort of environmentally aware at the moment, which is just amazing. But when I started working for Sue, she was a woman, and I don't mean that in a sexist way, but our industry was quite male dominant, and to have a female GM who was so strong was just incredible. She used to sort of go, toe to toe with quite sort of intense meetings and people, and I'd sort of sit there oh my God, how do you do that? Teach me. She's got this beautiful power about her, but she does it with such kind of grace, and she can walk into a room and you just felt like, we're going to be okay because Sue's here. Yeah. And I just always thought she was such an amazing woman, and she was so kind to me. But I think my industry inspiration is Sue Williams. Yeah. She's just incredible.
Fantastic. And is there anything you would have done differently in your career? Or perhaps not?
Do you know what? I don't think there is. I think everything came to me at the right time.
Yeah.
I was very lucky, to get the wedding coordinator role, because when I was in reservations, my intention was to stay in reservations, wait until the wedding coordinator quit, and then swoop in and take her job. She didn't quit, she kept staying. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I got this opportunity to work for the Miss World pageants and do all those things. And it was amazing. I got to travel a lot and, again, learn a different element of events, and because hospitality events is very different to everything outside of hospitality. So I got to kind of experience that. And then when the wedding coordinator quit her job, it was actually Sue.
Okay.
Sue rung me and said, so there's a wedding planner role coming up. And I was like, hi, I'm in. So I think I interviewed that Monday and they offered it to me there and then. And that was it. So I don't think I would change anything. Yeah. I think I'm where I want to be. I don't have any aspirations to be a GM. Nope, don't want to do that. I just love being with clients and having beautiful events and just sort of, I think I'm right in the right place.
Yeah. So kind of looking at the mindset kind of behind that, how do you prepare yourself for, a really big day, or it's like the wedding day, are there any kind of daily habits or anything you kind of do to kind of think, okay, I'm ready for kind of one of the biggest events?
This is a bit where I should say I wake up at 4:30 and I put my face in ice water and I journal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't do that. I like to get a workout of some description in the morning of, because I think that gets you sorted.
Yeah.
I like doing that. My day is walking in, pop my stuff in the office, say hello to my girlies, and then I go upstairs and Bryn's our sort of pantry manager. He is the best coffee maker.
Oh yes, of course,
Britain.
yeah.
He's amazing.
Yes.
So I go in and I say, Brynny, can I have a coffee? He makes me a coffee. I go around and say hello to everybody because I just like to see who's in and, just do that. And then if the bride's in house, that's my first port of call.
Yeah.
Once I've seen the team, go up and say good morning. But I think daily habits is just really making sure the team are aware that I'm on site.
Yeah.
They all, we are very open and honest, and they'll text me in the morning and be like, she hasn't slept all night. Oh my goodness. Or, the groom walked in and saw the dress. It's a disaster. So then I sort of have a little bit of a heads up. But yeah, it's more gym, coffee, say hi, and then crack on. Yeah.
So for anyone that's kind of listening today, is there any kind of top tips or any advice that you would give to somebody if they're listening and they're thinking, oh, I really, I'm really inspired by Lydia. I would love to be a wedding planner, or I'd love to be an event planner. Is there any advice for those people listening?
I think when you think wedding planner, you think J-Lo in The Wedding Planner. It's not like that. You're not going to get hit by a bin and marry the guy that saves you, who's also the groom. I think I would say if you're really serious about it and if it's something that you really want to do, it's not a fluffy job. I am quite a fluffy human being, but it's not a fluffy role. You have to be very strong. You have to be very determined. You have to ask for help as well. That's one thing that I always think to myself, because you get quite involved and they're your couple. Don't touch my couple. But you have to allow people to help you. So I think that's one thing I would say. And I think if you can just attend as many weddings as possible. Yeah. I've been a bridesmaid. This is so embarrassing. I've been a bridesmaid, I think 15 times. I know. I've got all the dresses as well. And that's not because I like weddings. Well, I do like weddings. But I think I'm quite a nice human being too. But I've been a bridesmaid so many times. But I actually genuinely think the fact that I have attended so many weddings in loads of different spaces, I can kind of see what works and what doesn't.
Wow, yeah.
And that really helps. And just find, to me, I think it really helps to find a venue you can work in, because a lot of people become a wedding planner or an events planner with the intention of having their own agency or that sort of thing. That's what a lot of young men and women I speak to are kind of interested in, which is a great thing to do, but it's not going to happen in 2 years. You can't run weddings for a year and a half and then go, I'm a wedding planner. It just doesn't work. No. I think you need to have that hospitality understanding. You need to make friends with your suppliers. Some of my best friends are the production companies I work with, the florists I work with, that sort of thing. So I think you have to focus on, your little black book. Build your relationships, your network, and then keep them going, flourish them, and it'll all work out eventually.
So building on those kind of that network, those skills and characteristics, definitely. Gosh, so where does Lydia see herself kind of going next? I mean, have you got kind of like a long-term goal or a short-term goal, or is it going to carry on staying at Cliveden? I mean, it's such a beautiful, beautiful place, and
I always wonder that. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I can't think without sounding there's so many beautiful venues in this country. Do not get me wrong. There are some incredible venues in this country, but I'm in love with that hotel. That sounds so lame. But I just, every day there's a great moment. And I don't think there's many people who can say, every day I go to work and there's a great moment. Don't get me wrong. There are days where I walk out of there and I'm going to kill someone. How do I end this? That's life. It wouldn't be roses all the time. But I think I'm in an incredible position where I get to do things that most people only dream about. So I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon. I really don't think I am.
And this is always a very interesting question. So if you were having your kind of own wedding or own event, is there anything in particular that you would love to see, or you would love to kind of have the wedding planner kind of organise for you, or kind of what would be on the itinerary at kind of Lydia's wedding or event?
Okay, The only things that I really want for my wedding, I want my dad to walk me down the aisle.
Yeah.
Quite like a groom at the end. That would be ideal. I think for me, I would just want people around me that I liked.
Yeah.
Like, not my guests. Hopefully I'd like all my guests. But I think it's about having people on my day who look like they're having fun. Because I know not every day is fun at work, but when we run the weddings, we actually do have fun with them. And the boys, like my C&B team, are just brilliant. They're so good at kind of, getting to know the couples and having a laugh with them. And Dennis is Irish, and inevitably someone in the party's Irish, so he instantly becomes best friends with them, or, that sort of thing. So I think for me at my wedding, I would want my wedding planner to make sure that everyone was just friendly and fun and, obviously organised and put my flowers out. But the rest, good food, good champagne and a nice happy surrounding. Dreamy. I am getting married at Cliveden as well, for sure.
Absolutely.
I can't get married in my house. Can you imagine?
Okay, so we'll just move on to some quick fire round questions. So first, Lydia, what do you love most about hospitality?
The people.
Yeah.
The people that you work with and the people that you meet and the madness that ensues with everyone that you get in touch with.
Number 2, what's been your most unusual request as a wedding planner? Or event planner?
I did a wedding a few years ago. It was an Indian wedding, and they wanted so they have dole drummers as part of the tradition for when the groom enters. He wanted to come down on an elephant, which I found. I had the elephant. I did it. I just wasn't allowed. The National Trust said no. But I did find my elephant.
My gosh.
Yeah, there's a place in Oxford that have animals that they use for films. So I got in touch. I found an elephant. I was really sad I couldn't do that, but
There is nothing Lydia can't do. And finally, what's your favourite memory working in hospitality?
So we have this beautiful little spring cottage, and it's right on the riverbank. And my favourite memory ever, we did this big party down at the cottage, huge, like pre-wedding thing. And the guests had all gone off, and it was just the team and I. And it was like this, it sounds really sort of like I'm making it up. I promise I'm not. The sun was setting and all the geese were like migrating down the river. So it was all pink. It was migrating geese. I had basically the entire team, and we all just had a glass of champagne to be like, well done. And it was just really lovely. It was a really like special moment. And I think, just having the entire team together and being like, thank you, because it was a tough week, that one. Yeah. And I think we got through it and we absolutely smashed it. And I think that was that lovely moment of like, we're good. Yeah. We did well.
Amazing. Gosh. Well, thank you so much. It's been honestly so wonderful to kind of get to know kind of more about your career and hear your really inspirational story. It's been lovely. So that brings us to the end of today's episode where we interviewed Lydia Kenny as an event planner at Cliveden House. Stay with us as we continue to interview some of the most inspirational and influential professionals. See you soon.